Hey everyone, Sakuriasm here. And I was just going from one squeeze to another. And today, today I'm joined by four very special guests. Bob Meatbag.
Hi.
Milo Yo-Yo.
Hello.
Flavia. Oh. And Cynics.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm glad the quality of these streams has not changed one bit in the past 3 years.
No, I'm sure that the quality remains the same. We have testers who they really make sure that our quality is invariable. Oh wait, that's too big of a word. It don't change.
Great. Oh, I can't help but notice that no one's drawing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what should we draw? Should we get things from the chat or not?
Oh, I missed these.
Or if people have like comments and questions and stuff they want to talk about, well, we can do that too. You see, this is an organized stream.
Yeah, Jeff was supposed to be on.
Yeah, Joe was supposed to be on, but he didn't show up.
Maybe he's just late.
I'm assuming he's just late and nothing else. Like, whoa.
Untoward has happened.
Bob, you've already been drawing.
Yay.
This is your sword fighting.
Yeah. Sword fighting.
You want to talk about that sword fighting a bit, or should it, no?
Oh, if you want, but I thought this was an art stream.
Oh, yo.
Bob, sword fighting is an art.
Yeah, it's a type of art. It's one of the arts.
Yeah.
Like modern art. But we know that's not real art.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That doesn't look like a sword.
Let me just add a little
Here's a
something.
question. I'm an anime artist. Six is an anime artist too. So could I get some tips on hands and feet? Please, I'm desperate. You want to take this, Cynics?
What do I know about hands and feet? Okay, here, go watch the wonderful Cynics Design channel. Quick tips on hands and feet.
Yeah.
There's whole videos. No, I feel like I've talked about hands and feet a lot. I want to hear your thoughts on hands and feet.
All right.
Okay.
So what I do nowadays, because I think every while it changes. So what I'm a big fan of now is just doing like this kind of shape for a hand and like this kind of shape for a foot. That's about it. We can do a lot of variations. Like I tend to just always group them, maybe do something like this. Maybe this. And then it looks bad, but once you flesh it out, it's, it's kind of not. So the next stage, I guess oh, sorry, what?
No, I was admiring your pun.
Oh, okay. I made a pun. I made it happen. Like that. So I keep the, what do you call this? This shape kind of like a triangle. And then it's got a thumb. And then this one, you work out the fingers and then you can build. But it's really based off a simple shape. And it's something I've kind of noticed lately. I mean, Cynics talks about shapes too in his multiple videos. But I feel like if you start with a shape that kind of resembles the thing that you want to draw, your brain automatically gives you a helping hand. So like that, because I can kind of see a thumb here already, I can sort of say, well, how would it look if there actually was a thumb there, as opposed to if I was starting from just a blank slate. I probably wouldn't be able to think of stuff as well. Like, I'm not saying this is good because, but it is easier, I feel. So that's my tip. Anyone else have any tips?
It's easier to make hands when you're drawing digitally.
Why is that?
Because they're digits.
No.
That's a cynic's joke right there.
Okay. Great.
Are you going to be drawing anything, or like who's going to be drawing and who's not? So
I might be. I'm just I'm trying to warm up my hand a little bit. We'll see.
Trying to get something
Hope
going.
I get some good ideas.
Oh, Milo's
Well,
going to be drawing.
You can always tell the chat to send in prompts, and I can see what I can make.
All right, chat. Do you want to send in prompts for Bob Meatbag?
Oh boy, it's just like old times.
It's like old times. Speaking of old times, I feel like I'm old these days. You ever feel like you're old? The only things I like in terms of anything happened a long time ago.
Like what?
Video games. I only like old games. I was thinking about this. How it's like, well, I mean, okay, fine. Undertale, Witcher 3, it's good, but like old games, they have a charm to them, which is missing nowadays.
How come? Like, what do you think? Is it just because like everything's big money right now?
Yeah, probably.
There's always a loss of charm once you start, the level of imagination that goes into video games is gone just because of resolutions and everything.
Yeah.
If it's also because it's just not that personal anymore. It's like, oh, you gotta please the clients, you gotta please the company, you gotta please the big wigs in suits, and then it's just like, oh, it's not about making games anymore. It's more about just, well, like I said before, it's just about making money.
Yeah. But it's that for everything, and I think it's just getting old. I just think at some point everything looks better in the past.
Oh gosh.
We have some prompts. One person said cyborg squid.
Cyborg squid. All right, let me go look up some squids.
So, Psycho, why did you decide to stream today?
Okay, so the reason I decided to stream today is I thought, well, I haven't done one of these in a while. The year's almost over. I've done some fairly unpopular psychological podcasts. And it seemed like people wanted the change of pace. And I thought maybe a stream would be a good... Because also I get an excuse to hang out with all my great friends. Right? Yeah.
You said I wasn't your friend.
I did. I never said that.
When did I say I was your friend?
Well, serves me
I don't
right.
even know who that guy is. Oh boy. Well, I have some good questions for Psychra.
Okay.
First of all, I will ask the questions on everyone's mind. When are you going to get back to doing normal videos?
I know that's on Milo's mind. Milo Yo-Yo, not Ross's dog, Milo.
Dog named
Same
Milo?
I was thinking once I learn more, I feel like I've learned a lot, but it's still all intuitive, and I feel like I need to
People like the
understand
learning
it
process.
to teach it.
Yeah, but people like watching the learning process. So I feel like as you're learning, that's a good time to make videos.
Well, if people want to see my learning process, I have pointy chins on the Patreon. Oh, I don't know. Do you find here? I'm going to turn the question back at you. Do you find that teaching kind of directs how you proceed in your artistic life? For instance, let's say someone wants to know how to paint watercolor, and you don't really do that, and you decide, well, okay, that's something I could, do, and then you have to put a lot of time into learning how to do it. Do you find that?
Yeah, I definitely spend a lot more time learning stuff myself in order to teach. I feel like I've always said that, but teaching is like the best way to learn because it forces you to really understand something enough to explain it to someone else. So you feel like you got to master it to some extent.
Yeah.
Which
See,
is
my
why
problem,
you gotta
though.
get back to teaching.
No, because my problem is that I agree with that, but at the same time, I think because if you're someone who doesn't really know what they want to do, that kind of yanks you around too much in terms of like, well, okay, I'm teaching this, but is it because I really want to learn it or because someone else kind of wants to know? And it's like, well, yeah, I want to help and I want to be a good teacher. But at some point you are kind of, I don't know if it's sabotaging your own progress, but maybe getting in the way of your own development to a point. And at a certain point, I feel like it's necessary to be selfish. Just because if you're not, you stagnate. You just become like, oh, okay, well, I don't know. That's my
YouTube videos are mainly your own choice on what to teach and talk about. I mean, it's not like anyone's generally calling you out and being like, next video needs to be on this.
They
There's
don't.
a little bit of that, but it's still up to you.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, I don't actually feel like I know a lot right now. I feel like I've learned a lot, but I haven't, not to the point that you can teach it. I feel there's a huge difference between just knowing something and teaching it. Because knowing it, I can just do it intuitively, and I don't have to understand it. I just know, well, I can do this because I've done it a bunch of times, and it somehow works. Whereas teaching, you have to explain it, but that's not really how it works. And I feel if you teach stuff that you don't actually do, it's not really that honest. It feels kind of bad, and I see it with some teachers who it's like, well, you should do this because it's a good way to learn. And then you ask them, like, did you learn that way? No, I did it a completely different way. But if I was starting over, I would do it this way. And then like, okay, fine, that's good if that's true, but would you really?
Okay, a quick question that people keep asking, but just to redirect real fast. Hey, Bob, how'd you fix yourself? Everyone's still concerned about your hands and everything.
My hands? Oh, I just stopped.
Yeah, remember when they fell off?
And I stopped using the key. Oh, I went through this phase where I was using this program called Dragon something, and then basically because I played too much Darkest Dungeon, and I was using the keyboard and mouse too much, and I was using the tablet to play it, and it's just like, okay, I got to stop doing that. And basically, I just focused on letting my hands heal, and that's how I got better.
So everything's A-okay now?
For the most part, I still can't play video games too much, so I'm fucked on that department.
Well, good, because video games are a waste of time.
Yeah. Ain't none of us do that.
Yeah.
My game is life. All right.
Here's a question a guy keeps asking, and then people are feeling bad because he's getting ignored.
Okay.
I feel like I draw better figures from feeling and not thinking too much and using S-curves, etc. But when I draw off a rib cage / pelvis, my drawings come up stiff or sideways if I draw it standing.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree. Okay.
Was that your answer?
That's like how it happens. Like the guy I'm drawing right now, I'm not drawing a guy because it's a guy. I'm just drawing shapes, and then okay, like okay.
Your brain generally understands what looks good and what doesn't. So the more you can interact with your intuitive side of things, generally you can make more appealing art. The trick is to just learn to interact both your intuitive side with your little bit more functional side, and then you can get things going. But yeah, usually your intuitive side will be making more appealing art. So you just got to figure out how to. I mean, if it works for you, what's the problem? I guess is another thing. If you're just like, I'm making good stuff from imagination.
Yeah,
like,
it's actually
then what's your problem then? What are you complaining about?
I find a lot of people will do that where they're like, I can draw really well if I do this one thing, but then when I do it the way this tutorial says it, it turns out shitty for me. So how do I fix it? It's like, but you're fine. Not everything works the same for everyone.
Yeah, tutorials are for the people that can't get that first step, and they're like, I can't make anything look good. And then you give them processes and steps to get things that look more appealing. But if you're like, I look good, and now when I do this method, it doesn't look good, well, that method's not for you.
Yeah.
That's something green in the chat.
What is that?
What is this green thing? It's bright green.
Okay, let me click on it.
It has money.
Bill Nguyen. Oh, he sent us $5. That's $1 for all of us.
That's the $5. It's a $5.
Cool. Oh, it's from Australia. How do you go about simplifying the human figure for thumbnail sketches? My thumbnail size figures keep coming out like thick stick figures. You wanna deal with this, Sidix?
What? He gave you money for this? This is a $5 question he's giving you.
Okay,
You gotta answer this one. You gotta earn that money, boy.
Okay, so this is kind of similar to what I did with the hands, which is look for a shape. With figures, I tend to use like it kind of looks, the Star Trek. I don't know if they've changed it now, but they used to have like this logo thing.
Yeah, it's black now.
The badges. Oh, anyway, I only know Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and the original series. Sorry. I kind of do this, but with people. So, like, you take this and you put a circle on top, and it's a person. Kind of like sometimes I do this. I'll use like different shapes, but it's generally something like that shape. I don't know. And then if they're skinny, they're just sometimes like this.
Sorry, just reading the chat.
Oh, what did they say?
You don't want to read.
Oh.
Well, it's a $2 comment there.
What? Oh, Psychra, does Flavia... Wait. Psychra, does Flavia give good sex making? Well, I read it because it's $2, but I'm not... Yes? Sure. Why not? All right. So...
Okay, going back to that $5 question. When I do it, I like to focus on the shoulders and the feet. You bring the shoulder, focus on the shoulders, and then into the legs, like a little box. And you add the head last. There you go.
Yeah, that's a good one. So you kind of get like this thing.
Well, no, you don't even draw the head. You just focus on the shoulders into the
feet. Okay. Okay, so yeah, okay, so there's like a deltoid
No, what are you doing? Just stop it. You're not doing a thumbnail. Stop. No. You're just. Okay, fine. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Game is afoot. Okay, Famalam. It's time to share screen. You got this, Sakura?
All right. I'm all buckled up, buckled in.
Here you go. Draw the
Yeah.
shoulders, and then you draw the rest of it. And it doesn't even matter what it looks like. You can do some country pasta if you want, but you just focus on shoulders into the rest. You can do all kinds of poses. You can do your little Star Trek pose. You can do whatever you want.
You can do anything.
Oh, somebody
But
actually
basically-
watched our podcast.
Why does my computer is really lagging? I don't know why. It's very hard to draw. Okay, for some reason I'm lagging a lot. I mean, my actual computer is, so I can't draw. But then you don't even care about the heads. You just, you smack on some heads afterwards, and no one really cares. Heads aren't important for thumbnails.
That's cool. You managed to make a bunch of stuff really quick.
Okay. Yeah, I don't. Okay, apparently I can't screen share because every stroke is taking like 2 seconds to show up. So never mind.
No.
Well,
I've been doing video editing all day and I didn't restart my computer, so I think it's a mess.
Okay, do we have questions?
Yeah, we have one question from probably the one person who watches our podcast.
Hey, it's all for you.
Hannes Wurst. He's asking if we still limit our use of internet and if it has an impact on our creativity.
Do we?
Oh, yeah,
I guess a bit.
I do quite a bit at least.
Yeah. I think it's more like what internet, not so much that you completely limit all of it. There's worse things and there's better things. For instance, I guess if I want to look at art for inspiration, I'd rather look at images I've already saved in folders rather than, just browse. Because I feel like the browsing thing is sort of one of the big problems, not necessarily the using the internet. But every time I don't use internet much, I feel less depressed, I find.
Yeah.
And then when I do, I feel more depressed. So
Great.
I don't know I think depression doesn't help.
Try to look into that.
Do you have thoughts on the matter?
No, I think it's good that you're limiting stuff in general. Limitations are a good thing. Limitations bring about improvements. Limitations are the mother of all creativity. But even just limiting random things, your time, well, especially if it's time wasted, then it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But just bring in limitations on just any aspect of your life. You might find that it helps somehow in some weird way. Weird limitations. Why not?
Like the travel man.
Who's that?
By the way, why is every single person in your chat talking about how thick we sound?
We
What does
sound
that mean?
sick.
Do we sound thick?
What does that
You
mean?
sound thick.
Super thick.
Yo, you want me to get thick on you? I could get thick. You want to get sick? Everyone gets sick. It's gonna be a thick stream.
How did you do that?
That's my real voice, Sakura.
Oh shit, man! This is my real voice. See,
Think it's a game? Think
got
I just do my little sing and dance on YouTube? This is
Yeah.
my real voice.
That's your thug voice, man. When you don't want to sound like a
Thick
fool,
voice.
when you don't want to sound like a fool, you use that voice. That's smooth. Yeah, I like that. I like that thick voice. Laid on thick.
That's
talking like this all the time. It's really annoying and no one likes it. That's why they don't watch your videos. That's why your views are so low.
Damn.
Wow, that was amazing.
You're really just digging in there.
All right. Do we have
Bob
more
sounds
questions?
pretty thick all the time. Bob, do you have a thicker voice? Can you go extra thick?
I can try, but I feel as though I sound ridiculous when I do that. Like, oh, my voice is so low.
Oh god, I felt that in my ovaries.
That's what I do. Hit people in the ovaries.
I do feel.
Talk about sword fighting. Rapier and buckler.
Rapier and rapier.
Oh man, I do feel like you have been practicing your Cynic's voice. It sounds like you. I feel like this is what you and Flavia just do around the house.
You don't even
Practice
know.
your Cynic's
You
voice.
don't even know.
You know,
We just talk like that.
mostly I use, like, often I'll just talk in my mom's voice. I don't know. Do you have this where you do accents and then you grow attached to the personality of the person who has that accent, and then you don't really want to stop because it's like killing a person?
A little bit.
Yeah, I get this. Like, however I change my voice, my brain changes, and then it feels like, oh, I'm different. I'm this new person, and then it's. But I guess I don't feel so bad when I do my mom's voice. It's different, but it's.
It's always bad to kill cynics.
Well, I don't.
Don't kill.
Most of the time, I do voices like this because
You
there
do?
are people I know, and Bob Meatbag, he knows what voice I'm doing. Yeah, sometimes I do this voice. And sometimes I do my mom is like, yeah, so what? Yeah, don't tell me. I don't care what your problems are. You work it out between yourselves. That's something you can do. So did you get lots of snow then, or what?
That's exactly what she said. No more.
Yeah, and sometimes I talk like this because I get a little bit more, in my mind, it feels more clear, maybe clarity when I talk like this. I feel different. I don't know.
This guy says in your something about draw correct video, you talked about drawing with your whole arm, but he says he cannot use or whatever, can't use his whole arm because of tremors or shaky hands or something.
I have.
What can I do?
It's something I've been doing, which I don't know if it would work with your tremor thing going on, but basically, I draw with a pen a lot. So what I did is usually you have like a grip here on the pen, and then like the ink flows out here, and then you have your lid thing here, whatever. So what I've been doing is I took a rubber band and I put it around here. So I'm basically just moving the grip way up, and then I draw from here. And it allows me to not have to use so much of my arm in a tight, like a small area, but I still get the advantage of using my whole arm. Because I think that's physics, right? Is that physics?
I think so.
Sure. Leverage point something. Point
Yeah.
whatever. Blah blah blah.
Yeah. So you get like very light lines. And you lose a bit of control, but not too much. Because you lose control when you use your arm anyway. I mean, a little bit of control. Your fingers usually have the most control just because that's what you've been using a lot for very fine motor skills.
No, you know what? Yeah, but to answer like the other part of your question, just obviously do whatever is working for you. Once again, it doesn't matter if someone tells you to draw with, such and such, or use this grip, or blah blah blah. Be sure to try them all, but in the end, if you can't draw in one way, don't force yourself. If you're completely comfortable drawing in a different way.
Now it sounds like you have a pretty strong view on these things. You should make a video about stuff like that. I'm sure people will really enjoy it and take it to heart.
Oh.
Have more questions? Who's the one drawing the yellow dress? It's so good. That's Flavia. She's drawing. She's doing a study. Oh, I have a question for you, Flavia. Atlantics asks, strange question. Do you like ballet?
Yeah, I used to do ballet for like 8 years. I used to just go every day and practice for hours and stuff, and we had some shows and stuff. So yes, I like ballet.
That is a yes.
It's
We have a yes.
confirmed.
It took me a while to
All
say yes.
Eastern European girls love ballet.
Oh, we got another €2 question.
I think those are kroners. 2 kroners.
2 kroners question. Have you considered taking the stream to Twitch? Maybe. I was talking to Cynics about it, and he brought up some very good points. Why?
Do people make more money on Twitch than they do on YouTube?
Oh,
Which is a very good point. Except if you're a creative channel, sorry.
Yeah.
But maybe you can just play video
What would
games.
I know about that?
Ugh.
All right. Yeah, maybe. What day of NoFap are you men on? What does it mean? Cynics? Milo, Yo-Yo, help me.
Huh? What?
What is NoFap? What does it mean?
Where you don't masturbate.
No.
It's NoFap November. You don't masturbate during November.
It's not
It's not
November.
in November.
Yeah, I know. That's why this question's so weird.
We're married people. We don't worry about such childish things anymore.
Some of us are even married to each other. All right.
Delightful.
I love anime is a comment that seems to be coming up.
That's all I see. Who loves anime? I
All right.
Wow. Wow. Hey, Sakura, what other hobbies are you involved in that influence your art?
Lately I've been revisiting video games. I don't know if I should say that with shame or not, but it's actually been helping. Especially I was playing a game that, it's an okay game. You may like it, but it's not really my cup of tea for gaming, but it's a very visually good game for me called Battle Chasers. It's a Joe Mad game based on a comic book. And I find because everything is done in this really cool art style, like even the leaves and the rocks and stuff, it kind of sticks in my head and it helps me a bit. I'm sure that applies to, any other game if it kind of suits the style you like. Probably can help to see it often and sort of in 3 dimensions.
I saw a good trailer for some upcoming game. What's it called? It was like Little Devil Man. I don't remember what it was
Bob
called.
should know.
Little Devil Man?
It has some name. Someone it looked like a little character. It's like a open world survival type thing, but the art style was really good.
Don't Starve?
It's like a little character and you're running around this desert, and
Desert.
it looks a lot like a newer updated graphical version of Journey, except with different little characters.
Is it made by the same company?
I don't know. I'm hoping someone in the chat will know what I'm talking about.
Uh,
But it looked very pretty.
Could be because I saw the new game coming from the same people that made Journey.
Oh, what's the name of that?
I don't remember.
Oh no.
mind you, a game I really like playing right now. It's this old game that Flavia played, and it was on sale for $5. And hey, that's a price I can afford. Even I can afford. So,
Oh no.
it was called, or it's called Vampire: The Masquerade Bloodlines, and
Well, that sounds familiar.
it's surprisingly good. It's like
Is it a MMO? It's not an MMO. Like,
No.
describe the game. Describe
no,
the game.
it's like New Vegas or KOTOR 2, kind of. It's like that type of game, like what do you call it?
But it has vampires.
Yeah, like the ID says no Malkavians. Anyway, it's surprising. Like it started out pretty bad. I didn't really like it, and then I kind of got into.
Did it?
Yeah, remember I couldn't even get through the first door.
Yeah, but before you got through the first door, you were like, "Oh, this looks like you. This looks like you."
Oh, there's a character that looks like Flavia, and I play her, and it's really weird.
Just make me dance like a retard.
Anyway. Okay. Howling Break says, I've seen most of your mileage videos and how practicing until you can make something in a limited time, but is mastery of a technique defined as that's kind of, is mastery of a technique defined as time or amount of practice? I think it's like you could technically spend a long time practicing something and not improving if you're not experimenting and making mistakes and correcting those mistakes. I think really it's a combination of experimenting, discovering things, sticking to what works, and getting rid of what doesn't work, and that like over time. I think the scientific method is how you learn anything, or that's how I'm thinking these days anyway. Just like trial and error. So I think if you want to really take advantage of a short amount of, like if you have a short amount of time and you want to make a lot of progress, I think there's two huge ways to do that I've discovered. One is make a lot of attempts, just tons, and experiment a ton. And the other is find someone who's doing what you want to do anyway. Maybe they're not 100% doing what you want to do, but maybe there's an artist who has like 60% of what you want. And I guess copy them as best as you can, or try and learn whatever they're doing that you're not. And so you would kind of draw a picture, and then you would ask yourself, maybe you have a bunch of their work, because you don't want just one necessarily, but you have a bunch of their work, and you ask yourself, like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? And then you kind of steal the thing that they're doing, you incorporate it, and then you might have a spin on it. Like, yeah, okay, so I noticed they shade in this manner, and that's cool, and I'm going to adopt that. But I kind of don't like exactly how they do it, and I'm going to do it a bit differently. And that's, if you repeat that with many different artists over time, I think you can develop yourself fairly quickly. Anyone else have ideas? I might be saying bullshit.
Oh no.
Feel free to
the
call me
fastest
out
way-
on any bullshit, by the way.
The quickest way to get good is to just copy, do copies of good artists. That'll make you good the fastest, but it might not give you the proper range that doing trial and error approaches, which is what I always did. I loved just doing trial and error, just seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if it's just a matter of getting good fast, I feel like nothing beats just copying other artists. And I don't mean just like, just trying to copy them when you're actually doing your work. I mean, just doing a bunch of copies, like filling a sketchbook of just copies of drawings by like Kim Jong-il or something. It will instantly make you a better artist.
I found that didn't work for me so well, though.
Really?
I mean-
I always found it was like a quick way to improve.
It's like Psycho said, it's important to find people that are already like you, except they're further along in their journey as an artist. Because it's sort of like if you just try to copy somebody who's not like you, their art is different because their brain works different, their approach is different. So it's gonna take you a lot more time than just going to somebody where it's just like, oh, he's doing what I'm doing, and then just copying it. Because it happened to me in Vancouver Film School, where it was just like I was at a certain level, and then I saw somebody brought in like a book of this other artist, and then this other artist had a style that was very similar to mine, but he was more advanced than I was, and I started copying. All of a sudden, my level just jumped up by like 2 or 3 levels, and it's just I could just do so much more. And I think that's what it is, because it's like if you copy somebody that's similar to you, it's sort of like it just feels, for me, it felt familiar. It felt as if my muscle was already prepared to do this, and because of that, I could absorb information a lot quicker. So yeah,
there you go. That's a better answer. I agree with that.
Yeah, one of the things, I had a teacher who told me that to learn anatomy, you just copy an anatomy book, and in a month, you'll know anatomy. And so I kind of took it to heart, and I did it. I copied a Bridgman complete whatever drawing guide to figure drawing or whatever it's called. I don't remember. That's a big Bridgman one. And I found I actually didn't improve that much. And the reason is because when I copy, I use a type of thinking which I don't use when I think analytically. And I kind of just zone out and start measuring shapes even if I don't want to. So what really helped me with anatomy was standing in front of a mirror, even though that's an ugly sight, and moving my arm and seeing like, oh, okay, that's how it moves. And somehow, whenever I see something in real life moving, I understand it. But if I see it in drawing, I can't quite interpret it the same way. So that led me to believe that everyone's a bit different, and some people can learn by just copying an anatomy book, and other people have to turn it into something that might work better for them.
I think that's why it's really important to just go with different attempts, and just like you need to make an attempt, and then it's like it's not just one attempt to repeat it over and over again, even though that can help. It's also that you need to find out what works for you, and that's why making many attempts is good, because you find out, well, this thing worked to a certain degree, and then this thing worked to a certain degree. And the more attempts you make at certain things, the more you find out just how your brain works, how your muscles work. And by doing that, you find out more about yourself, which is pretty important as an artist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally never used any or never tried any anatomy books, but I definitely did what Psyker did in terms of just looking in the mirror. I would spend a lot of time, like just stare at like an arm joint, like try to figure out where everything attaches, and then like move your arm, or like, palm side up, palm side down, and see how things move and like what shifts, and just doing a lot of really mirror type studies of things. Not even necessarily drawing while I was doing it, but I mean, you draw after, but really just concentrate, like trying to understand things. Yeah. I think that's where I learned a lot about anatomy.
Okay, I'm done with the squid.
All right.
Oh boy.
Great. Looks great.
Hey.
Oh, wait. I thought one of them was like a finger puppet, but then.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yep.
Oh no.
Uselessness in Freedom says, I wish I was muscular to make a good reference to myself. It can work either way. If you're super skinny, it also works.
Yeah, I was just super skinny, and I thought it worked good because I could see like all the little ligament attachment type stuff.
Yeah. I was never... I mean, I was super skinny, but not when I was drawing, and then by the time I was drawing, I already got too fat.
Well,
but I think when I used to go to the gym, because I don't anymore, I learned a ton about anatomy, because the difference is you feel it, and that makes so much difference, I feel, than when you just see it, when you feel like, oh, I feel this muscle doing this thing. And the same is true for expressions. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but when I draw an expression, my face takes on that expression, so I start to that's how I know where the eyebrows go, because of how my brow feels, not necessarily because I've seen it. More like it feels that way.
Yes.
All right. Is it too late for a 20-year-old to start creating art with mindset of living off it later on? It seems pretty impossible to catch up with pros like you guys.
So dumb.
Okay, you want to tell him why he's dumb if that's your opinion?
Because I started at 20.
There you go. There's a positive.
There you go. There's your answer for you.
And Cynics did it, so you can too. And if not,
Yeah, and I was
what's wrong with
lazy
you?
about it.
Because Cynics could do it. That's what I tell myself all the time. What's wrong with you? Cynics could do this. He did this in 6 months. And then I cry. Why are you crying? Just gonna sit
I was
crying. Cynics don't sit there crying.
I did work hard for 6 months, but if you compile like all of my laziness through like the following years together, I definitely have not amassed an unreasonable amount of time. Like I barely worked hard through most of the years, so it's not a big deal. It's 20 is not old. Now, if you're 21, you better give up. That's the cutoff point. Everyone knows that.
I think this person's name is Yana. Asked, do you guys have trouble painting copyrighted images? I try taking my own, but I don't have models to photograph. There are non-copyrighted, like royalty-free images also. Can you see those?
Why does it matter if you paint a copyrighted image? What do you
Yeah, it only matters if you're gonna sell it, and also if you haven't altered it beyond a certain point.
Yeah, it's generally not an important thing.
All right.
I can't imagine it coming up.
Yeah, if it's like reference stuff, I don't think it's an issue. If you're copying like a Disney character or something like that, then yeah.
Oh boy, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, Psycho, has your long-term like old man whatever goals changed at all lately?
Yeah.
Like what do you want to do in like 10 years? Where you want to be?
Writer.
Oh yeah, not even.
Yeah. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Probably for the past, like on and off for the past few months. Like, am I an artist? I don't sometimes feel like it. Like, there's some days where I feel like it, and other days I don't feel like an artist at all. And I mean, maybe that's why I make less tutorials, because I just don't think I'm cut out for it. But I feel like I might be an artist sometimes, and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm just a person. That sounds stupid.
Really? Okay. I was curious to see if like you were thinking more about like actually teaching at like a school or something eventually.
Well, as far as I know, you need a degree to teach at a school, or
No,
you
want
get some
me to
kind
get
of.
you a job, you move down here, I'll get you a job in our college. You can work.
I mean,
I'll have you working right this next month.
Well, we'll have to wait for Flavia's immigration things to come through.
Yeah, but see, he didn't say a job as a what?
A job is a what? Yeah, that's true.
I will get
He's
you.
gonna make you work
I
at
will
their
get you a job
McDonald's
as
in
an
their
art
cafeteria.
teacher at an art college. That is a promise to you.
What is it like teaching at a college compared to just making videos?
It's a different mindset kind of thing. I mean, obviously, when you're making videos, you're just on your own. You don't have to worry about, or you're not even thinking so much about how people will react to every bit of information. You're just like, I'm just teaching it the way I like learning it. Whereas in person, sometimes you realize you're like halfway through teaching something and no one really understands what you're talking about, or they're just they're not picking up on what you're trying to demonstrate. So it kind of gets a little.
Yeah,
But
you get the immediate feedback, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the benefit side is you got that immediate like answer of you know, why isn't this working? Or they'll just ask questions, which obviously you don't get when you're doing YouTube, which is very helpful because they'll ask questions and you'll be like, oh yeah, I guess I never really thought of explaining that aspect. But it's just fun. It's fun to have that experience of being around people and seeing how they just translate things and what kind of art they do.
What about
Helping
having
them.
a routine that's like fixed, that you have to be at school at a certain time and they get up at a certain time? Do you find that difficult?
Not really. I mean, I'm not used to, like, obviously it's good to have a little structure because otherwise I think it's a good thing more than anything, because I usually get way off routine if I don't have anything. I'll just be staying up all night and messing up everything. So all around, I would say it's mostly just beneficial. I don't have any complaints.
That's great. What about the same question directed towards yourself? What do you think you're going to be doing in 10 years?
Still teaching. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with things are. I just want to basically do the same stuff but do it better. So like everything I'm doing now, the YouTube videos, the teaching, I just want to be still doing it but doing it, 10 times better.
Sounds like you reached a very good place in your life.
Well, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to, make those. Obviously, the farther you get into a hobby or anything, the once you start reaching a certain level, it gets harder and harder to improve. So it's gonna be a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
But I like a challenge, so it'll be fine.
Okay. Kenneth asks, how do you separate art progress from family and social life? I think it was. I lost the comment, but it was something like that. How do you separate your art progress from your social life?
What does that mean?
I think it probably means like, okay, how do you improve when you have to be super dedicated, but then you kind of, maybe your friends want to hang out with you and you don't want to refuse them, but at the same time, you know that you're not going to be drawing and you plan to draw. Maybe it's something like that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I've built my friends around the art community. Like I've purposely structured all of my friendships around the art world, so it keeps me somewhat focused.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not something most people could do. You got old friends, you got all kinds of other obligations. I don't have a good answer for that. Maybe you do.
From what I've heard, most people who are very successful actually went through a period of kind of losing some of their social life, maybe making sacrifices that got rid of certain things. And then it kind of paid off, but it's always I feel like it's a trade-off. You really have to ask yourself, what do I want to do to become, like, what do I want to give up for this thing that I want? And if the thing is like, well, if I wanted to get really good, I'd have to consider perhaps giving up my social life. If you had asked me at the time, like 10 or 15 years ago, I would have said, like, yeah, of course, that's fine. Not because I didn't really care, but because to me, that's all that mattered. Like, I just wanted to get good at art. And I was pretty willing to do whatever it takes, but I don't know. Maybe that's a luxury of being young or something. I'm not sure.
A little bit. I think most of us did that.
Yeah. It's more like, well, I know this is going to be hard. I never viewed art as something easy. I never thought like, I read in this Wizard magazine, which was, I don't know if they still publish, but it's a comic book magazine. And it said that your chances of being a comic book artist are more slim than getting into the NBA. And that kind of stuck with me. So I guess from a young age, I thought, well, this is going to be super difficult. And there are people who are much more motivated than me who are doing this. So I need to give everything for this, because otherwise it's not going to work. Yeah, I don't know. One could argue that it hasn't.
Speaking of comic stuff, someone was asking, are you guys still doing your Affinity stuff? What's the status of that?
It's growing, it gets bigger and bigger. But I don't know. I do it somewhat. I don't do it a lot, but it's something that it's not going to be a thing that I think most people will probably see in the near future, just because I realize the more I go into it, the bigger it gets, but I'm not sad about that. It feels like a life's work more than, oh, this is, I just want a story. It feels like, no, this is the story. So for instance, right now, I'm working on a language, and I'm working out all the words, and I've gotten to some rudimentary speech, although I've forgotten it. But it's something where it's like, well, why would you put that much effort? But it's kind of like the Tolkien thing, where if it's worth it, you don't feel bad. In fact, it feels bad not to do that. So if anyone asks, like, oh, when's Affinity going to be done? I feel this strong compulsion to, I don't care, it'll be done when it's done, and it's going to be a really long time. It's probably one of the only things that I have tons of self-confidence in. Like, okay. I think it's really good. So
wait, so can I go back for a second? What is this language thing? Is this a speakable language? Can you speak in this language?
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of speaking in this language?
I'll have to stop sharing.
What do you mean? Why?
Because it's in folders with stuff I don't want people to see.
Oh, you mean you don't know it off the top of your head?
No, I know some off the top of my head, but not enough, because I'm still working it out, and it's changing. It's like in the process. Yeah, I'll do it later. I'll speak it later. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know.
Everyone wants. No one has said anything, but I'm sure everyone wants to hear you speak your language.
What I will guarantee you is that when it is done, it's a pretty easy to learn language, and it's fine.
What's the name of the language?
I don't know if I want to say that much even.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because whenever you say stuff, it kind of feels like you've done it. You know what I mean? Like, if you say nothing, then you have to show what you've done. But if you talk about stuff, you often get this feeling like, oh, well, I've mentioned it, and I don't know, maybe the desire to create it would go down. That's what I'm afraid of.
It's like Synchronies.
Yeah, Synchronies. I don't know. Sorry.
Wow, look at this orange thing. This big old orange thing.
A $10 comment from Dorian Hawkins. Thank you, Dorian.
Hey, Dorian. I haven't seen you in a while.
A former student who was very, very healthy.
Yeah.
Very, very, very fine person. Okay, so what's the comment? How would you approach maintaining style while drawing a comic? The background of my panels and the objects in them are not in the style of my characters. Great. Someone says, Dorian, give up. I completely disagree. I actually think this is super, super important, the thing you brought up. So one of the things that really helped me, and I mean, Cynics has seen me, and Bob's seen me, and Bobby has seen me in my ugly duckling stage, and I still think I'm somewhat there, but it was this thing where you get ahead, and let's say it's like a more anime style head, and it's like, okay, and then you put it on a body, and you just create like this realistic body. Imagine that was realistic. The thing is, it's not going to work if this doesn't match this. So you have to ask yourself, what is this? And just saying stuff like, well, it's anime, that's not enough. Or like, I actually don't like thinking of things in black and white way, like, oh, this is anime or this is cartoony. But ask yourself, like, okay, first of all, if this was a face, what are the characteristics? First of all, it looks young. So, okay, so this is obviously an older body. So let's just trim that down, make it a bit younger. Second of all, you've got a lot of negative space.
Yeah, make sure you switch to your screen, by the way.
Oh, shoot. You got a lot of negative space. So you have a relationship of positive space to negative space. And there's a lot of negative and a little positive. So you want to have lots of negative space and a little positive. Next, we've exaggerated certain features, like the eyes, because they're important, and minimized certain features, like the nose. So you have to do that too, which is exaggerate certain things. So let's say the neck, right? You don't need that much of a neck, but also if you're creating a young person, you stick with what is in a young person. It tends to be, you know, bigger heads. And so you might give them a smaller torso, which is simplified. What is it?
Can you leave the chest hair, please?
Chest hair, yeah.
All
right. Yes. But okay. It's like, okay, if I think about the chest hair, I have to put, like, I can't do this because it's too much. It doesn't match a style. So you have to think about simplification. So maybe you only have 5 hairs that you can put down. So maybe like
or
1,
just like a tuft of hair.
3, 4. Yeah. Maybe you just get like that, and it represents the chest hair, or like maybe a zigzaggy thing. But you're thinking about simplifying it because this is simplified. This also has to be simplified, and whatever degree you make this weird, you have to do the same thing to the body. So sometimes I do faces, and I'll do like weird shapes. Let's say this shape for a face. It's like, okay, this isn't quite normal, but it's just a shape, but it feels like this kind of, I don't know what this is, like triangular shape. So if I want to add a body and I want it to not look like it's breaking the style, I have to kind of reflect that to a degree. So maybe the body's like this kind of shape, and this is very pushed. So I might push it. Maybe the arms are super skinny. I'm not saying like this is what I would do, but like this type of idea, you make it exaggerated because it is exaggerated in the head. The same if there was an object, like let's say you had a lamp, and the actual lamp maybe looks like this. Who knows? It's just a basic lamp. You could really push that. You could think like, okay, so maybe we're going to create something with very wide top, and then this part is really like tall and narrow, and so you get something like maybe you have that like drawstringy thing, and in this case it's very thin. Maybe it's here just so we get like a break in the silhouette, and then maybe we curve this line a bit just to make it more interesting. Maybe it's not quite symmetrical. And then you've got this like, oh, this fits within the style because it's pushed. So I don't know. That's a treat. Yeah, sorry about that. But that's the idea. Anyway.
Okay. Speaking of which, trees and plants are a good place to carry forth your whatever shape dynamic you have going on in the world.
Yeah.
It's because trees, things that can take really any form, are good places to exert your shape dynamics. Things like clouds, things like trees,
really
things
like,
that are very
fish.
open.
Especially for spaceships. Fish for spaceships. I really like them as a thing.
Is oh boy.
Well, looks like we've got what 25 minutes left.
Oh no!
All right. Edwin Rodriguez.
Ask your best questions, people.
Have I ever worked at a studio? If no, why not? No, it's never really been something I mean, it's something I thought I wanted to do until I realized I don't actually think I do. It doesn't feel like the type of thing I would like, but maybe one day I will think differently. But right now I feel like, no, I quite enjoy being a loner.
Here's a question for you. How did you begin to learn how to give character to people and exaggerate proportions while remaining realistic?
I would say I got a lot from Jason Seiler on that account. I subscribed to a schoolism course, and he talked about kind of how to caricature, and that was the course. Of course, he talked about that. But it's something that I think, in terms of the expression, I didn't really need to help with that because, as I said, it was just that feeling thing. You feel it in your muscles. So I kind of knew the character part of it, but how to draw, I think that started with Jason Seiler's Schoolism course, which I think you can still subscribe to. I think they have a winter sale right now on schoolism.com for I don't know how much it was, but it's like off by a lot, $100 off or something for a year's subscription. So I would recommend it. Anyway.
There you go. Use promo code Psychra for an additional $0 off.
Yeah. Always
someday.
One day, maybe. Who knows? Nobody knows.
Oh boy. That guy keeps mentioning Corner Cake. Don't worry, I'll post the Corner Cake updates probably in the coming 2 weeks.
That's cool. Are you doing more Corner Cake stuff?
I'm doing a thing. Yes, I will mention it though. I don't want to talk about it or get into it.
All right. So you're not running for president?
Okay. No comment.
No comment. All right. But if
you guys ignored that guy's comment, he sent you $2.
Oh, wait, what comment? I'm sorry.
You got a $2 comment.
Okay. Okay, so Noshi Lab says, y'all ever drawn some smut? Indeed.
Y'all drawn some smut?
But it's nothing that I've found the least bit titillating, I think.
What, you mean like your Futanari Nightcrawler?
That's just funny. I find drawing smut is a funny thing. There was one time when I was young, when I just hit puberty, and I think I was doing a drawing, and it was like there was some reaction like, "Oh, this is kind of hot," but that happened once, and never again. Now it's just a funny thing if I draw any kind of smut. Okay. Do you have any comment on that, Milo?
What?
Have you ever drawn smut?
What, is that a rhetorical question, Sakura? You know I've drawn smut before.
Whoa, Jesse Gilbert, just a $5 passing through into your pockets. Thank you.
Pockets.
So what is it like drawing smut?
How do they already know the Psychronese language? Pockets.
You're good at it.
I'm terrible at it.
You're good at it.
I'm garbage at it. I don't know. I don't really know if it's my thing. It just kind of feels kind of like, whatever.
Show us your smuts.
Yeah.
No, this is a Christian stream. I will not defy the word of God.
Can I show them? Can I show them Remy? Because I really like Remy.
Yeah, I'm good.
Sure, show them that piece of garbage.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
Well, just put it on your screen, and then.
No, because my screen is sharing Clip Studio on it.
Oh.
But I can link it in the Hangout, and you can.
Yeah, I can do it.
You can.
I can make it happen for you. I think you did.
Can one of you make a video on colored pencils? I want to see colored pencil stuff. I'm summarizing. Who wants to make a colored pencil video?
Sounds like someone whose name rhymes with Benix.
I don't know anything about. Then you have to buy colored pencils.
Are there like really fancy colored pencils?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There are even watercolor colored pencils.
Good work. Sounds like magic.
Okay. Okay, let me find.
Another night alone.
Yeah.
That was a great laugh.
I like this one. All right.
Okay, read it
I
in your
can't
best.
really find okay, Milo, do you want to read it? You're probably better with your own voices.
I don't have no voice. What you're hearing is the robot voice generated by computers.
Like all my friends. Dell Technical Support provides. All right. I'll do. I imagine he sounds like kind of like Donald Duck, though. So that's bad. But
I think I'm going crazy. I keep hearing this voice in my head.
oh, what's it saying?
Your feelings are important. People care about you. Lies!
Oh.
It's good.
For
Why-
more of that,
Why do you
search
make this
for-
stream a stream of lies?
Search for Remy on
Tapas?
Tapas.
Tapas.
It sounds bad, but it's not what it sounds like.
Tap
It
that.
doesn't sound bad. It sounds like little food dishes.
Yeah.
Makes me hungry.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Have you ever been? I guess that's never mind.
No, go on.
Oh,
Don't
it's okay.
stop here.
I was gonna ask if you've ever been fat, and if so, what were your?
I've never been fat.
What was this, like an open question, or is that just for cynics?
See,
for
okay, it's for everyone. Because I'm currently suffering from this condition.
From fat?
From chubitis.
Vitis.
Are you turning into a little? I don't know what's a good word. What's the good psycher joke that has the words fat in it?
He got a little pouch, a little plump around the waist portion. Yeah, a little bit plump.
Lumpy acid.
Yes. All right, more art questions. How do you find inspiration to draw paint every day? How do I even find what to draw? Anybody?
Well, why are you
Anybody?
drawing and painting in the first place?
See, that's a Fabia angle. It's KO.
It's like, remember, why are you trying to do this in the first place? And usually you'll find a topic. Oh, I want to draw my smut. Or whatever. I
I want to draw
whatever
some
you
looks.
do.
Yeah, that's probably the smart answer. Could be like me and just make a habit of it and draw no matter what. Kill yourself. How do you guys do it? How do you guys draw when you don't or how do you find inspiration?
I don't remember ever like there's like certain things that come up a lot when you first start art. Like, what do I gonna draw? And like, oh no, I can't make eyeballs that look in the same direction, which seem like really big issues when you're starting out. And then I realized like in the past 7 years, I've never even thought about those things anymore. Or
Yeah.
past 10 years. So it's like I don't have a good answer because it seems like I don't even remember what it's like to not know what to draw. Always something to draw.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, someone got shot.
Yep.
America.
A comment, Bob. Watch the evidence.
Wash away the evidence. Don't let them find the bodies.
Oh,
All right.
boy. That guy really wants to ask his question about muscle memory things and his theory, something about arms and stuff.
All right. How important is that muscle memory thing in your opinion? That theory doesn't work when using your wrist and not your arm?
I don't know what that. See, that question. The reason I wasn't answering this question is because I don't really understand what you're talking about.
Okay. Do you think muscle memory only... No. We're not talking like if you use your bicep, it's in your bicep. It's not muscle memory. I'm talking about more in your brain.
It's the brain muscle that remembers it.
It's more
it transfers. Yeah. It transfers.
Like for me, it's like I agree with everything you said, but also like for me, it's like, oh, you use your wrist, and it's like, what are you talking about? Your muscles, like you use your muscles to move your wrist. Like I'm not sure I really understand the question.
Well, I think they mean if you switch from using your wrist and start using more of your arm, are you going to lose muscle memory?
No, you're not. You're going to develop new muscle memory.
Yeah, like the thing that you're going to... I mean, the important things are going to stick there. Otherwise, every time you switch from like a pencil to a brush or something, you lose everything, but you don't.
Yeah, like if you switch instruments, like you might have to get used to the new weight of whatever instrument you're going to use, but the muscle memory is still going to be there. You know, it's like just because you use a different part of your body doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose one thing over the other, unless you completely stop using your wrist, which I think is impossible.
Yeah, I feel like whatever problem you feel like you're having with that, I think you're just overthinking it. Because there's nothing, I don't know. It's really a non-issue, the question you're asking.
Yeah, a lot of things, and I mean, I don't know if it's... Can I talk about it, Flavia, how you started to learn how to paint?
Who started to learn how to
You, with the oil paint.
Oh, sure.
So I don't mean to embarrass you, but it's...
Go ahead.
Okay, so...
She just like come in the room one day with paint all over herself, like, I don't know what's happening.
No, it's the opposite. Like, Flavia was really scared of using oil paint because it's expensive, it's whatever. Anyway, it seems like it's hard. But the thing is, the way to learn how to oil paint is by oil painting. You can't really not learn it. Or, I mean, you can't really learn it by not doing it. So at some point, you have to get over this thing. Like, a lot of people ask questions before starting rather than starting and then asking questions. Because your questions are going to be much better after you've started than before you've started.
I think maybe they just need to accept the fear. Like, just accept that they're going to mess up. Because, like, I guess that's one of the biggest...
That's the
biggest...
angle. The Bob angle.
A what?
Sorry.
She said that's the Bob angle.
Yeah,
Accept that you're going to mess up. Accept the fear.
Yeah, accept it. Well, they should, because it's like... I think a lot of people just get scared of just doing something. And it's like, okay, you want to put in thought because you don't want to mess up. That fair enough. But take a look at your actions. It's like, okay, is this stopping you from actually doing something and learning from it? If so, then you should accept that. It's like, okay, this is my first time, or this is my whatever time I'm going to be doing something. Accept that you're going to screw up, and then move on from there. It's kind of like just problem solving. You know, it's just like, okay, find out information about how good you are at something, and then address the issue when you found out about it. You know?
Yeah.
What are some good social media sites for artists besides DeviantArt?
I think Instagram's pretty popular, and Tumblr, I think. Right?
Instagram is one of the better ones right now for growing your awareness.
Growing your awareness? What?
Yeah, well, growing your social awareness, presence, your social presence, whatever
That's
you want
like
to say.
Training for Aspies, right?
Yeah. Tumblr, I guess, is fine.
People are talking about using mushrooms. Okay.
I need an adult.
Do you do discicles? This is by Neanderthal. Have any tips or exercises on being able to see depth in the page? Do you pre-visualize forms? Yeah, I mean, a basic perspective grid usually helps with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Once again, that's not a question that seems like it. That's not a question that needs answering. You just do stuff, and then you get better at stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Boring question. Next question.
Whoa.
What is it?
Milo yo-yo.
Milo Yo-Yo. Yeah, I really like Milo Yo-Yo stuff.
Let's see.
Drawing some birds.
Look at all them birds.
Hey, speaking of birds, Cynics, you have birds.
Do I? Oh, yes. Oh, no.
So, you want to... Oh, never mind. I think that was it. Congratulations.
Wait. Now, what's your question?
It wasn't really a question. It was just like, oh, Milo was drawing birds and you had birds, and like a person of my high intellect, I realized, like, oh, those things are related. Let me bring it up for no reason in the public stream. Because that sounds like the right thing to do.
It is the right thing to do.
Mom's seal of approval.
Yay. Davey Dude says he's played a TI-83 Texas Instrument.
Okay. Sure, let's let that one go.
Cynics has a color dodge fetish. Time fetish. Color dodge time fetish? You do? I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, it's a little known fact.
Oh. Well, that's okay. You know. That's
Okay.
your lifestyle. I think you should just be open with it, not hide behind it, and not come up with excuses or say you have other fetishes. Just own it. Okay, how do you find purpose and direction in art? You have a good habit of drawing a ton, but I really don't know what I'm doing it for. Yeah, heavy question. Well, what do you think? Anyone?
Maybe a Flavia angle is appropriate for this.
Well, it's the same as before. Like, why are you drawing in the first place? Just start.
Why are you doing this?
It's crazy how you can forget, though. Like, just years and years of, oh, I'm focusing on skill, or I need to get better at this, and I need to get better at whatever, and then you just kind of forget. It happens. Like, where...
Bob, can you draw orgasm? I'm pretty sure he just did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
Yeah.
I don't know about the rest of you, but that's pretty much what it looks like.
One big orgasm.
These are the stages you go through. Yeah, the last one is, you realize it's burning, it's burning. Right, Bob? It's burning.
It's burning.
It's burning. Hannes asks, why do you maybe want to quit art since you drew so much over the last decade? I thought it was a thing you loved to do. It was / is a thing I do. I didn't start because I loved art. I started because I wanted to be good at something. And I had a lot of self-esteem issues, and I thought, well, I suck with science because I didn't know anything. I didn't know how to study. So, hey, let me do art. I guess that's it. And it was a toss-up between art and writing. I didn't do music because I thought, well, I don't know an instrument, so that's not really going to work. And So I thought, well, between writing and art, people said I was better at writing, and I thought it's a bit more boring because the act of writing for me is kind of like you live and then stuff happens and you think of ideas and then you put it down, but it's kind of stressful. Whereas art is like, oh, you're drawing and that's fun, right? So that's why I got into art for all the wrong reasons. And then
there's no right reasons to get into art.
Yeah, I thought oh, I'll feel better once I'm good, and once people like me, that'll be it, right? And then it didn't, and then it took a long time. I started thinking about all the wrong reasons, and it wasn't until I had a pretty bad breakup from a 13-year relationship that I realized, like, a few months later, like, I went through this really depressed period. And then I realized, like, it hit me. Oh, I like art. And I realized that was before I decided art was a chore, because I could have done anything. So I must have liked art at some point. I spent all my time looking for art. And but the way I see it, I'm not an artist. I like art and writing and music and martial arts, and maybe that's my big influence chart thing. So I feel
maybe you should become a martial artist. Go back to that.
Yeah, I got too old, bro. I got too old because that's got
not the right attitude.
I know, but it's the attitude I have.
Kick some ass.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just be a free. You can become a freelance martial artist.
Yeah.
Just get out on the street.
On YouTube.
Start punching people.
Anyway, so I don't know. I'm not going to quit art because it's part of what I do. It's just not all of what I do. And I feel the ratio might change. Like, maybe I'll do more writing at some point. And I always figure at some point I'll do more composing, I hope. But one of the things art has afforded me, though, more than anything else, is choosing it has made the other two kind of hobbies, which make them easier, because I don't write for anyone other than myself, and I don't compose for anyone other than myself, and I like that. And I wish I had that for art, but for art, it's more like, okay, I'm either doing this because I want to impress someone, or I have to make a tutorial. I have to teach someone. I don't know. It sounds terrible. Sorry for the answer.
Oh boy, someone's asking where they can download your skills. Well, you can go to patreon.com/Psychra and download all his greatest hits. Yeah. Learn everything. And you too can become a Psychra.
Oh, that sounds terrible, to become a Psychra.
He'll start.
Better be a Cynics. Cynics is much better.
If you give him enough money, he'll even teach you how to speak a secret language.
Yeah.
It's called French.
Also known as mouth sounds.
Oh, you think that way too, Bob?
No, I just know that's how you think.
I don't. It's Flavia who thinks that way.
Yeah.
You've combined us in your mind.
You two are a single entity.
Yeah.
We're an Archon.
Yeah. Is Psychra Sri Lankan? No. I would do like a thing, a racist joke or some accent or something, but I don't really know Sri Lankan stuff.
I'm pretty sure they just sound like Indians, so do that one.
Okay, I can do Indian, but not specifically
not
Sri
Lankan in Indian.
Is your real name Psychra, or has been all a lie? No, I made the lie the truth. My real name is Psychra for a long time now, but it wasn't always. It used to be, hey, you stupid kid.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay. Okay.
How has moving country affected your life / art? What? I wasn't born in India. My parents weren't even born in India, except for my mom. But she left when she was 2.
I think they mean about Romania.
Oh, Romania. it's been mostly a positive experience leaving Romania. However, food was much better in Romania, and people were much less racist in Romania.
Really?
Yeah, they were fine in Romania. They either thought I was a Turk or they didn't care.
And they thought Bob was a movie star.
Yeah, they thought
Oh,
Bob was
yeah.
a movie star. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do Cynic's secret video where Psychro puts someone on blast for using Cynic's hand style. Yes, I did see that. I watch everything.
What is that?
Why you gotta hate on my style?
Oh, I did a video where I was
You can't
making
be
fun
so
of your
rude.
hand style.
Yeah, why you always ripping on my styles?
I think your style is very you, Cynics.
Dare you?
It embodies you. I just don't like how you draw hands, that's all.
That's really the cornerstone of my whole style.
I don't like how the pointer finger is longer than the middle finger.
But it's pointing.
I know, but it's something I just don't. I personally, I don't care for it too much. But I do. For everyone, I'm gonna make it like clear. I respect Cynics and his art. I think he's amazing. I think he's much better than I am. And I think his paint explorations are basically the Cynics. You talked about, I think it was Hardcore Picks that you saw do.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like you have achieved your goal with your paint explorations. I think they are groundbreaking. Totally edgy. Is that like a compliment?
I think it was 10 years ago.
Okay,
Edgy.
they are like whatever the cool kids say. I think they're fantastic. I think
Thank you.
it's
And I just want to say I agree with everything you just said. I
Yeah,
am
so-
great.
If I don't like the way Cynics draws fingers necessarily, it's okay because I still like a lot of the stuff he does. And hey, it's okay to have a different opinion. Ain't that right?
Yes. It's
Yeah.
almost as if tribalism is a bad thing. And differences are what make us better.
Almost always, but not always. But Cynics, the comps never look that good though. Wow, Yevero. Hey,
Don't say Yevero.
do you know
don't.
Yevero? You know.
Oh
Yevero.
yeah, he's just someone that draws a lot of little kids naked.
Oh.
He's one of those.
Oh. Yeah. Well, you can draw, Yevero. You can draw. I will explain after. This is a story you should know. Okay. Have any advice on starting a comic book? Bob, you've been doing a comic. Oh, shoot.
Oh.
Am I
What?
allowed
Yes.
to say that?
Oh,
Go
what's
ahead.
he
Go
doing?
ahead.
Okay, but how is? Do you have any advice for drawing a comic book?
Do I have any advice? Depends. Be prepared for a grueling adventure. I guess that could be something. Let's see. Do I have any advice for drawing comic? Yeah, know the story, know the characters, establish what the characters look like. And if something that could help, I guess, is sort of like look up some other comics just to see just like what kind of panels they use. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm just me doing the comic thing is still relatively new. I'm not sure if I'm good enough to be able to give advice just yet.
Oh, I think you're plenty good to give advice, but that's just my opinion.
Oh, something that I don't know if this is an advice or not, but something that I can. It's going to, depending on who you are, it may be something you like, or maybe it's something you don't like. But in my case, it's something that's very challenging. Doing a comic is grueling work. It's very exhausting. But one thing that I have noticed though is that it sort of forces you, especially if you don't do too much cop outs or anything, is that it forces you to pretty much to confront every single one of your weaknesses. So for example, I wasn't that good at perspective. I got forced into doing perspective. I wasn't that good at
Forced perspective.
forced perspective.
It's like a
Art joke?
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But anyways, it's just like my perspective wasn't all that great. My doing certain things in different angles weren't all that great. My composition was kind of rusty. But basically, doing comics makes you do everything. And I suppose the one thing that I can do is that if you do a comic, you will get a crash course in how to basically do everything in a way. And it can be helpful
So
for your growth.
when and where can we see this comic thing you're doing?
I have no idea. Maybe a year from
Oh.
now. At the rate I'm going.
Okay. So this is a strict. This is just your project. It's not something for anyone else.
I'll put it up eventually, and then I'll just see where it goes from there.
Oh, I mean, you're the one writing. Like, you're not doing the work for someone else. You're the one writing it.
I'm doing the majority of the work.
Okay.
And if you go to Bob Meatback at DeviantArt.com, you might be able to see it one day.
Do you think it would be a waste of time to do an amateur comic book all on your own? You talked about skill versus ideas. No, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Mhm.
I tried doing one of those. Something. But, all right. Well, it's pretty much time for us to wrap up.
Oh, no.
I guess we can take a couple more questions, or we can... All right. Zach asks, any advice on being a better
Better be good
storyteller?
ones, though.
Yeah, he asks about any advice for being a better storyteller in art. I feel like a lot of my art lacks meaning, so should I think through a piece before drawing how to create more interest in art? You got any ideas about that? Anyone?
Maybe we can ask
yeah.
Mr. Milo here. He hasn't talked about too much.
Oh yeah, you got good ideas.
You do
Milo.
comics
What do you
and
think?
stuff.
Wait, my mic was off.
He's been
What
talking
was the
whole
question
time.
about story?
Where is this question?
I think basically, how do you get better at storytelling and make sure your pieces aren't just, devoid of ideas, I guess.
Spend some time. I mean, I'm not very good at that, but I guess I'd say spend more time at the very start of the picture. Like, just do a lot of random ideas, do a lot of roughs, do a lot of thumbnails, and don't think when you're in that stage. Don't think. I guess in general, just don't think too much. Like, don't think about things like perspective or anatomy. Just try to get that rough idea or that kind of feeling that you want to get across.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
Is my own experience. It's really easy to get trapped into starting a rough, but then immediately thinking, oh God, how am I going to do this perspective? How is this anatomy going to work? And I spend like 20 minutes on trying to get an arm right or whatever. And I've completely lost sight of what's the whole point of doing a rough. It has to be as loose as possible.
Yep. Someone asks, do you massage your hands when you rest or when it feels sore? Yeah.
Yeah.
I use a thing called a power ball.
And I just do stretches for my fingers and arms.
Yeah. The power ball really helps, and stretching really helps.
And what's it called? Hold on.
What is this? What is this going on? You're being hacked by the Chinese.
Oh, cool.
Cool.
We got hacked. That's great.
We got a hacker. Jammers.
We're famous now. Famous people get hacked, right?
Best game of 2017. There's a question you can sink your teeth into.
That was this year, right?
I don't know.
Yes.
Someone else has to answer.
Okay, I didn't play. How about best movie of 20? You guys watch any movies?
No, we haven't watched anything recently.
You didn't watch any movies this year?
No, we don't have a theater in our town.
Oh, no.
What?
It's
Yeah,
too small. We only have 2,000 people. We have one
Not
big
even, because most of them are
supermarket.
in the ranches.
Yeah,
The town itself
That's
is really, really
There's
tiny.
been a lot of fun movies this year.
yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't seen any movies.
Oh gosh.
Gwent, I guess, at a point. No.
No,
No.
No,
It
you
was
can't
fun
even-
for a bit.
it wasn't. It was not even anything. A disappointment.
But it came out this year, right?
Mm-hmm. Technically, next year.
I know one game.
All right. Well, those were the best questions. And
Okay, wait, one last one.
One
How
last.
about since it's the end of the year, do you have do you feel like you had any big break? Like, what was the biggest moment for you this year in terms of art? Did you have any big breakthrough this year?
I did, like a bunch.
What's that? You gotta pick one. The
Shoot.
best of 2017.
I'm drawing a blank, but I know I had some.
That's about drawing, right?
I don't know, a bunch of psychological stuff that really helped.
Okay.
Okay. Next person. Pass.
Best. I think. Oh man, I did definitely improve my design sense over the course of the year. I felt like I really focused in when I had to start teaching it. I really got a better grasp on things like big, medium, small, and proper ratios for detail distribution, which really helped a lot.
All right, Milo, do you have a thing?
What do you mean, like progress throughout the year?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've just been trying to get closer to what it is that I really want to do in terms of art. I've been trying to be more loose about it and not, like I said earlier, be so focused on the minor details like anatomy, trying to get the big picture stuff that I want to do.
Cool. Flavia, did you have any big breakthroughs this year in art?
Oil painting? Oil painting.
Oil painting.
Yeah, have you posted any of that somewhere?
No. No way.
Oh.
And Bob? Bob?
Oh,
Bob. Bob.
Oh, I gotta go.
Bob, did you have any breakthroughs? Oh.
The only thing I broke through was a dead cat.
Flavia is not amused.
Oh no.
No, big breakthroughs. Let me think of. No, I don't think so.
I think he is playing Darkest Dungeon.
Oh no.
Oh
Well,
no.
all right. Why do people keep saying Jetty Jet?
because we said he'd be on.
Yeah, we said he'd be on, but
They waited for him.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's
Right,
Jet.
false advertising.
Is that your Jet? Come on, do your best Jetty Jet impression right now.
okay. Hey everyone, it's the Jetty Jet Show.
That's just you. That's how you do Psychra Yasin. That just
I-
sounded like your normal
I
voice.
based it off Jet. No, I didn't. But hey guys, Jet.
Pieces.
That was good. That's good. That's very spot on. All right. All right. So that was the last great question, right?
Yes, that was the final great question. But it's another little indulgement. Do you have a favorite art piece of this year? I just want to see if you made one.
Yes, I do.
Okay, I want to see
But
it.
it's just a sketch.
That's
it's-
fine. I want to see it.
I don't know if I'll find it. It was super hard finding it the first.
But didn't you put it in your board?
Oh yeah, it was in my board. It was in that board I made. That's right. I made an image and I showed it on the artboard and I already talked about it. So there's that. It's already there. Yeah. I guess that's it. Sorry.
Okay, fine.
Do you have a favorite piece that you want to share?
No, I just want to ask you. It's your channel. I was just curious.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone else? Yes, Bob. Oh, Bob's not even here.
He's not.
Yeah, that's right. Darkest Dungeon. He's in the dank.
Dungeon is my favorite piece.
Oh.
Flavia, do you have a favorite piece?
Mm-mm.
Not even the cougar one?
No.
Okay.
No. Oh, he left.
Oh.
Gone. It's gone. Oh, no,
Hey,
I'm working on my little 2017 recap video, and I'm gonna put that up tomorrow.
That's
Didn't
cool.
you say you were gonna do 100 videos this year?
No, and I do 100. I'll do 1,000 next year. So looks like I'll do 1,000 next year.
Yeah, that's very Rock Lee logic. All right. Okay. Well, was that everyone? Milo, do you have a favorite piece? Did we ask for it?
Yeah, I do. It's
Oh.
that one with the one by the cliff.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
that one?
Do you wanna share it?
Yeah.
Sure. Give me a second. Screen
Give
share.
him a second. Give him a second. Are you making a New Year's resolution, Sakura? Well,
I
he's
never
this
do. I never do.
okay.
This one.
Oh, he's got it.
Do you see it or no?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah, that's nice.
It's not the best I've done technically, but it was a picture I had in my head for a while, so I'm just happy I finally did it.
That's cool. All right. Well, okay. I guess I ought to thank everybody for being here, especially Bob Meatbag, our star.
Oh.
What do you have to
Yeah.
say for yourself, Bob?
Oh, send a link.
Do I get any of that money from the money they sent you? Do I get it?
Yeah, are we dividing that up? What's this?
Hey, you're back, Bob.
Yeah, my computer crashed.
No, we had some questions. Do you have a favorite piece from this year that you did?
A favorite piece from this year that I can't say that I do.
No. I think my favorite Cynics pieces are his paint explorations, even though it's not one piece. It's kind of like a journey. It's like a movie.
It's a visual experience.
Yeah. All right. So thanks, Bob, Milo, Flavia, and Cynics for being here. And thanks to all of you who tuned in, and for all of you who are watching this recorded. I hope you have a very nice New Year's, or what is it, Sylvester for Germans?
Sylvester?
Something like that. They have like a Sylvester, and it's New Year's Eve. It's called Sylvester.
Sylvester Stallone.
Kind of.
Isn't he German?
Is he?
No.
No, he's not. What? No. God damn it. I couldn't even have a nice... I ruined it.
I'm imagining Sylvester Stallone with a German accent.
Okay.
Average? Oh, no, that's quite funny.
You still wouldn't understand what he's saying, though.
Tall.
Sorry to all the Germans.
Amazing.
I hope you have a wonderful year.
Oh boy. Well,
Goodbye. Thank you. Goodbye.
thank you, girl, for letting me come on. Love you.
you.